What's up, all you nerds and turds? Welcome to Indie's Nutz podcast, the internet's #1 indie gaming news reviews and previews podcast you've never heard of. I am Steve Fontana. With me, we have Matt and Andy. Gentlemen, how are we doing this fine evening?
Great.
Good. I'm doing great.
Welcome back.
So good.
Fucking great.
I like how
Welcome back.
somber we both are compared to Steve's hype.
Compared to right before I hit record, where you guys were just fucking, Matt was singing a musical.
Listen, man.
Yeah,
the
bring that guy back into the room.
The Jaws musical is gonna happen someday, and I'm gonna write it, and I'm gonna be a bajillionaire.
I'll produce.
All right.
Can there be
Yeah,
a,
fuck
can,
yeah, you got the bankroll.
Can there be a song called Bum Bum? And it's just a bunch of people going bum bum. Bum bum.
Bum bum.
But it's like all harmonies and like
Bum,
crazy
bum, bum,
shit.
bum, bum.
Now we need to secure
bum,
like
bum,
the
bum.
set designer.
Oh boy.
The Lion King set designer has to be like the utmost get because I've seen that play.
Yeah.
And
We need to have like a
We need Lion King quality for the
I want
Jaws
that.
musical.
Yes.
we need like
Yes.
that big like the Little Shop of Horrors plant that comes over the audience. Like you
Yes.
see that?
Oh, the
Like
big shark, big old shark face.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I like it.
absolutely.
I want
I'm way into it.
the Stampede scene energy that they recreate for the musical. I want that for our Jaws musical.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
You're gonna need a bigger boat. Gonna need a bigger boat. Ladies and gentlemen, hello,
It
welcome.
writes itself, damn it.
Oh my god! Could you imagine like Quint's monologue about sharks and
Yeah.
dead eyes and
I
doll's
can.
eyes? Like
I
in a
got dead
musical?
eyes.
I am dead.
No,
I am
no.
screaming inside.
No. Here's the thing. At the end of a long, big musical number, right? It's like a happy, like, go-lucky musical number, right? Because they're all having a good time in the ship at that point.
Obviously.
Mhm.
Hard cut. Music
Yeah.
hard cuts.
Lights
It
go
is,
out.
it is word for word, tone for tone, the exact monologue from the film.
Life
I'm-
is
I'm-
One minute,
like a
thousand men,
doll's eyes.
thousand men go into the water, nine men
Screaming
come out
and
of
hollering.
it.
All right. If you like Jaws, don't listen to this show because we're gonna stop talking about it. Welcome, folks. This
Cool,
is
good
Indie's
eyes.
Nuts podcast. We're gonna talk all about indie games, and we're gonna have a great time doing it. And if you liked this kind of thing, and you like supporting channels and podcasts that cover indie games, well, you can support us by going to patreon.com/dualscreens, just like our Patreon producer Colton the Apprentice Nestler. We cannot continue to grow without all of your support, so thank you so much. As little as $1 gets you into our Discord, a super secret Discord channel, just for $1 here. Andy, speaking of dual screens and secrets, what do we have coming up on dualscreens.com?
Oh my god! So this weekend is Play NYC,
It is.
which we missed last year because we suck a little bit, but we'll suck less this year because it's back.
I think I was sick. I
Yeah,
feel like
you
I was
were.
sick last year.
Yeah,
We'll suck much less this year.
we'll suck a little bit less this year.
Yes.
It's this weekend in New York City, and games much hyped dual screens game Crystalla.
Yes,
is gonna be
Crystalla
there.
from last week's show. Yeah.
the cat-tastic Dark Souls game.
Yes, it's gonna be there.
And friends of the
Game
show, Hyper Light Breaker will be there. Heart Machine. So I'm very excited about that.
Hard
Fucking,
machine.
I'm
To see our
jealous.
friend Alex and play his
Jealous of
game
you.
for the first time.
I
So
dropped,
yeah,
I
look
dropped the
forward
die
to...
20 somewhere. It's underneath my
Oh,
desk.
son of a bitch.
These are the
You
things
better
that happen.
fucking see what it rolled.
I'm
Yeah.
trying, man. All right, filibuster. I'll find it.
Yeah, so look forward to some previews, maybe some interviews
16.
All right, yeah, all
That's a
right.
good
Kick
roll.
ass.
of my
That's a good
time
roll.
over there. It's a good roll.
That's a good roll. All right, so yeah, I guess we'll have some coverage for the show up on Dual Screens
shall.
and hopefully on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/dualscreens.tv, which you should go over there and give us a subscriptione. Andy, you also did something yesterday, I think, last night, for another YouTube channel or something. You did.
Oh
Some
my
sort of
god,
thing.
yeah. So many moons ago, someone reached out to us on Twitter about being a guest on their podcast. And I had some Wi-Fi issues the first time around, and I had to reschedule it, and I totally forgot about it until yesterday, like right before we were supposed to record.
Mm.
And I went on this show, and I gotta pull up the name because son of a bitch.
Because our brains are
so while I-
broken.
While I find that, it was a very fun group of guys. And just asked about me, what dual screens is, and indie games
Oh,
in
cool.
general. And
Mhm.
it was a lot of fun. It was just so late. Like we were done like at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my god, fuck that.
Right. Oh, so the podcast is called Fragments of Silicon.
Ah, okay.
And a special thanks to Adam Dane for the invite. And he wants us both on the show, Steve, you and
Yes.
I,
Well,
to
as
because
long as they start when the fucking moon.
when the sun's up. We had a sun go up, moon go down.
Yeah.
We had a really great conversation. Just it's fun, like talking, like being like asked questions about what we do, because it's
Mhm.
always like the other way for us. And just thinking about like all the folks we've spoken with and all the stories we've heard over the years, and it was fun in more ways than one for me, because
And the
it was
friends we
about
made along the way.
it was about me, which is always great, which is rarely a thing in my life to be
Love
to
talking
be a
about
center
you.
of attention. I don't like talking about me at all
That is a
in
lie.
any way.
You seem to be doing it a lot right now. No, I'm just-
Exactly. I got a taste for like Jaws and Blood in the Water. I want
Speaking
more.
of you talking
Jesus
about
Christ.
you,
I'm gonna talk some more.
you played some horror games and you want to talk
Yes.
about 3 of them
Yes.
tonight. So we're going to
Yes.
transition over to our indie game adventures. These are games we've been playing, indie games we've been playing. So yeah, take it away, Andy. You want to talk first about
I'm gonna rapid fire through these.
Amnesia? The Bunker.
Amnesia.
Yes.
I'm
Hmm.
convinced. I am thoroughly
Uh-oh.
convinced that
Okay.
that team over at Frictional just doesn't know how to end games.
Oh.
Like the game itself was great. You know, the whole idea of like this, World War I setting,
Jesus.
and having a gun with a single bullet to fend off your stalking enemy while some fucked up shit happens and you're solving puzzles and trying to escape this like underground bunker in a sense. That was all great, very tense. And there's a flashlight you have to crank to like actually light the hallway, but if you crank it, you draw the attention of the stalker to where
Oh,
you
because
are.
it's cranking.
Right, because you're making noises.
Click, click, click,
Yeah,
That was
fair.
all great. I loved it. The gameplay was top notch, but just like the ending, I feel like it's just that team just can't finish a complete thought. It's like they just go, and then it's like, oh shit, how do we end this? I can't end games. That's what I feel like happens.
Well, maybe they
with
just hope
most
you'll
of their
forget
stuff.
the ending.
Right.
Amnesia.
Yeah, listen,
Oh,
it's like
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
get it.
I get it. But yeah, great game. But again, like the ending, I was like, that could have been better. That could have been better.
All right,
Um,
next up.
Next up, the Callisto Protocol.
Yes,
Holy
you
shit.
went back to it.
Holy shit. So again, I was going through all these horror games to cast my vote for the Horror Game Awards that's hosted by IGN. And the polling closed today, actually. So that's
man.
done. I know, it sucks. And I was like, let me give this a real solid chance, because there was a lot of noise when this game first came out about how bad it was, and the gameplay was shit, and the way it handled dodging and the combat was just wrong. I was like, let me give it a good solid go and see if I can, with a fresh set of eyes, without all the bullshit that was like, whether the reviews like put in my brain. Without that, no, sorry. It is a beautiful looking game. It is Dead Space through and through. Like the look, the layouts, the vibe, it's all very much of that. But it's fine. It's the same team that put that together. But that dodging mechanic is just so awkward. It's like I feel like I'm playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out, or like even worse, Friday the 13th on NES, where you're dodging Jason in the cabin.
Yeah.
No,
That's unfortunate.
that is not pleasant. And it seems like it's an otherwise great game, but like you want to feel some sort of empowerment when you're fighting these like grotesque creatures, because you have like pretty decent weapons as well. And like the melee combat feels really great when you connect with the blows. But like taking a hit because you didn't time your dodge right, it's like, this could be a lot better.
Have you tried getting good at it?
I've
Oh!
I have. It's just I feel like it doesn't lend itself well to this kind of game at all. That mechanic. It could have been reworked, like with a simple button tap or something.
Just tap it in.
Because like you only do the dodge when you're engaged in combat, so you can dodge like
It's
when
like
you're not.
bobbing
weird.
and weaving.
Yeah.
And I assume you have to like guess or like read the body language to see which
Yeah,
side the attack
yeah,
is coming from.
Yeah,
So,
so
you can, like, go
you're
in the-
basically watching like, okay, let me see you telegraph the move, and I can just see if I can dodge appropriately.
Mm.
But it just weighs down what would have been a really great experience.
Yeah,
And it
I
also
still
goes
I
to
still
show
haven't
you-
I still haven't
Yeah.
played it myself. I still
Yeah.
need to get to it at some point. But I don't know. You and one of my a good friend of mine who has also played it kind of gave me the you don't need to buy this game.
Yeah.
It is just not good Dead Space.
Mhm. Right. When the better Dead Space came out.
Yeah.
Dead Space.
Right.
Alrighty,
And then-
Andy, what's
and
last on your
finally-
list?
So this I want to bring up for one reason alone, is that I am really surprised that you, Steve, haven't played Inscription or like talked about it a lot, because I
Okay.
feel like this could be a you game, and let me explain to you why.
Mm.
Do you know about this game? What it is? What the gameplay loop
Is
is like?
this? No, I don't.
So
Oh,
the
man.
idea is it's a Slay the Spire. It's a card game essentially. It's like a
Okay.
deck builder in a
Okay.
sense. But you're
Mm.
playing with a psycho.
Mm.
And the psycho that you're playing with in this game
Mm.
kind of
Oh.
like he leads you, he's like a DM in D&D. He
Mm.
like puts on masks, plays the parts of all these funky characters, and I'm like, he like makes you think you're in this world that you're traveling through as you're playing this card game.
Mm.
And I'm like, Steve would love this for like that bit of it.
It
It's-
is very so like it starts off and you think it's a Slay the Spire game.
Correct.
And it does, it kind of continues that path.
Correct.
But there's so many just fucking
There's a lot of subversion going
Yeah,
on.
that's the
which
best
I
way to put it
love.
for sure.
And I think that again, just how the antagonist sort of plays his part in this whole game, I think you'd connect with a lot. Dude, it's on PS Plus for free. Get it, play it. I think you'll really love it.
It's
for
also
what it
like
is.
more unsettling than a lot of horror games out there because
is.
it's not like trying to be a horror game
It's not.
in the same way. It just kind of is, and like some freaky shit will happen and you'll be like, huh.
It's kind of like if the Saw movies, if all the traps were card games.
Yep.
Like there's
Would you like to play a game?
It's
Correct.
kind of like an escape room, but like there's one plant in there that's like giving you the escape.
Let me
like
just
the
say
clues
this: you
and
can
stuff.
like get
a
up
little?
from the table and explore the room you're in, and like you can do shit to help you and influence the game
Right.
as a whole. So I'm telling you, man, it's not your typical card game.
Yeah, it's,
I think
it's pretty
that
wild.
with the overall like D&D DM vibes you
Mhm.
get from the main character, I think you'll like it. Plus, one of the best parts is when you lose, it's a roguelike too. So when you lose, he like before he kills you, he like takes a picture of you and you build like what's called the death card from stats of 3 cards, like the casting stat of 1 card, the attack and defense of another card, and like the perks of a 3rd card.
Mm.
And that gets added to your deck.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Matt, speaking of really cool, Thronefall has been released as of yesterday, and I'm hearing very good things about it. Why don't you tell us about it?
All right, so preemptive, this game is in very early access, it seems like. Now that that's out of the way, think of Kingdoms, the Kingdoms game, right? The 2D, like, side-scrolly build your thing up.
Mm-hmm.
Put it top down and make it way more action-oriented, and that's what this game is. So it's like a kind of light RTS tower building defense game where you gain coins every night to build more stuff. You can upgrade buildings that all do different things. And every night a bunch of stuff attacks you and you're trying to build up an army and your defenses and all this stuff and position your army in different places to ensure that your shit doesn't get pushed in, basically. There are a bunch of different challenges for each different region. There are 4 total regions. There's like the regular one, there's like a snow one, like a desert one, and like a end of the worldy one.
Mm.
And the gameplay loop is just fantastic. So you control the one main character, you can go out and attack and build and all that kind of stuff, and then you have your just secondary turrets and armies that you can deploy. There's a bunch of different weapons in the early access version that you can select, as well as a bunch of different perks that you can unlock, and also a bunch of different kind of like multipliers. So things you can unlock that will increase your high score, which is kind of what you're going for in these. Where like it'll be like double the amount of enemies, or like you get less income, or things like that. But yeah, it is like super fun. I played a bunch of it last night. Well worth picking up for like the $7 price tag, especially considering how early and early access is and how good it is. I would guess that this game is going to end up being really, really great down the road.
I love the minimalist design of this game.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. The art style is awesome. It's like partially cell shaded, but not really. Yeah, and it has a great gameplay loop where you can really just like one more run it. You know what I mean? Like you can sit down and play through one little thing, or like you can keep kind of hammering out different areas, and they're all procedurally generated and slightly different.
Dope.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. It's very fun.
Nice.
I checked out Dead Link
So good.
recently today. Oh man, it's got a weird. Oh no, never mind. I was gonna say it had a weird. Somebody's streaming it on the Steam page, so bear with me while I get it all queued up here. But
I wish you could disable that.
I
somehow.
know. Dude, I think we spoke about this game before.
We have, yeah, we definitely have.
Oh yeah, I did at length.
Yeah. It came out just last week. I guess it might have been in early access or something, maybe. But I like these kinds of games, so I went into it. I really enjoyed it, and I think the thing that I enjoyed like the most about how it's a roguelike shooter. You're trying to do your best run, etc. I really like how they do power-ups, where you get a augmentation, but you could choose which one of your attacks uses that augmentation, or what one of your abilities. So like one of them is you get the grappling hook where you pull yourself towards enemies. You could put an augment on that. For example, I did one that like electrocuted. So every time I did that to somebody, it electrocuted them. They would get super stunned or whatever. But you could also change that to be your gun. And when you shoot them, they'll electrocute. And then you can move around all of these augments to different spots. I really also like how they do ammo pickups, where they have like those nodes that you could go up and melee, and they're scattered about to really let you grapple and swing around, jump, point down, shoot the guy while you're coming down, and then doing your force blast to like stun a bunch of guys. Then your grapple will be charged up, so you can grapple. It's like you're like Batman on steroids, just like jumping all over the place, taking dudes out. It's a lot of fun. I want to get deeper into it. I only played the first mission a couple times and I died, so I want to unlock some more stuff, because I'm really looking forward to how the synergies play. Synergies.
You didn't even put it up on the screen.
Yeah,
I did.
Are you?
All right.
Oh, what's up? Don't worry.
I think my only drawback of this game is that I felt like the power creep was too slow. Where like, so I agree with you. The action is like super visceral. The customization of where you can put your powers and how they all interact with each other is fucking awesome. I love the room to room design, because like the rooms are all these like really nice,
and you could choose which one you want to do too. Like they'll have a
it's very
power up
Hades.
in this one, money in that one, kind of thing. I like.
Yeah,
that
it's like Hades style, but I love the little arenas that they give you. They're all very well designed. I just felt like the power creep of like, all right, I don't feel like I'm actually progressing, even though like I'm pumping meta currency into my guy.
Right.
I felt like was a little too slow. But other than that, I fucking love this game. I mean, this is like boomer shooter fucking 9,000 with roguelike elements. Like, it's like somebody fucking plugged a computer Ethernet cable into my brain. It was like, suck out the information and make a game of it.
Well, speaking of sucking information, Matt, tell us about Goobies.
This game is adorable.
It looks adorable.
All right, so just a really quick aside. All three of my games are this week's Steal of the Week for me, because these are all under $10.
Matt, you're the best.
So this game is another like horde survival game. It has like super wacky, very crazy, cutesy physics and characters. Um, this I would call an overpowered build simulator.
Okay, I like that.
There are
Alright.
so many different powers that all play off each other, and like it'll be like, okay, like my first power up after getting XP was my bullets split on hit, and then my bullets that hit enemies on impact explode and like leave a fire, and so now you just have this like ever expanding tree of power ups that keeps going and going, but they throw enough enemies at you that it still maintains its difficulty. One of the cool things that I really enjoy about the level up process is like you'll get elites, and when you kill the elite, you get this like little spindle wheel, and it'll spin, and like you can get really lucky or really unlucky, and it'll be like, all right, you get 2 times this particular power, and like if it's part of your build, you're like, fuck yeah, I got that. And if not, that sucks. You have an extra power now. Maybe it's like super slow, or not as powerful rather. But yeah, I mean, it is a pretty tough but insanely easily pick upable bullet hell game. There's not a super ton of meta progression. There's like maybe like 9 or 10 things that you can upgrade. They do take a little bit of currency. There is a bunch of characters that all unlock. They all play like vastly differently. Like the original guy is just a little blorb that fucking shoots stuff out. One of the guys, like your attack power is based on your momentum, and like when you turn, you lose momentum. So you're trying to like constantly curb and keep your momentum going in one direction so that you can keep your attack power up. There's another guy that jumps up and down, and his main attack is just that when he hits the ground, there's like a little AoE under him. So yeah, it has a lot of depth for what it is, and the art style is adorable, and I couldn't stop playing it the other day. It was just ate my afternoon for a whole afternoon. Well worth it. The bosses are really fun to fight, the little mini enemy guys. And then if you ever want to see a Steam Deck really struggle with a what should be probably lightweight game, when you get into the higher levels of this game and you have like all your powers going off and it starts chugging, it's fucking hilarious. Because it's like, you're starting to, you get like 20 frames a second, you're fucking down to 15 frames, and then
Is that the new thing now? Can it run goobies?
Can it run goobies? Yeah, that's the new crisis.
I like that. I like that.
Goobies is the new crisis.
Before we get into your next game, I do want to let everybody know, yes, I have started my Baldur's Gate 3 run. It has happened. I started it. I am out of the for the ship in the beginning that they streamlined quite a bit since early access, which I'm very happy with. I cannot wait to continue playing so that I can report how wonderful it is and how incredible and all that stuff. Anyway, I made Rosalind. I made my current D&D character that we're playing.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. Unfortunately, there is no Chronergy subclass in this one, so I'm just gonna go divination and see
That's
what
right
happens.
to Larian Studios.
I'm so glad that Andy owns this game.
Yeah.
I don't have to spend any money on it.
Oh, you son of a
understand.
bitch.
But
Yeah,
if
then
the-
Matt gives me like $2 games he buys.
But if the
But
three of us want to play together,
But I buy
There's
a
like
lot
60
of
of them.
Yeah, all right. I buy a fucking ton. I buy like 4
I
every
bought
week.
you 2 Baldur's Gate 3's worth of games, Andy.
That's
In
right.
indies.
it's true.
Damn
It's
right. Go play Goobies. It's great.
I will.
Goobies is awesome.
But I want to melt my Steam Deck, so we'll see.
It's a good
Tell
way
us
to do
about Devil's Dive.
it.
Tell
Devil's
us, Matt.
Dive is Downwell,
Uh,
but a better
You have
roguelike.
me. You have me.
oh, okay.
Oh, I love it
so-
already.
I loved Downwell when it came out. It really, like, the gun boots thing really got to me. And this takes that exact premise. Like, you're falling down a very narrow chute.
Mhm.
If you've played Downwell, it looks extremely similar.
Yep.
There is 2 major differences. The one major difference up front is that you can glide. So if you hold the jump button, you can glide slower instead of just dropping super fast all the time, which helps keep your combo meter up. The second is that there is like in-run progression via currency. So you can buy like upgrades to whatever weapon you're using. So, like your guns can not just become different guns, but they can also be like, all right, I do like 8 to 10 more damage, and like my clip is big, and I have like a faster fire rate and all this stuff. And also,
Clip is big.
you're not just shooting out of your feet. It's a 8-way, the 360 directional firing.
Mhm.
So it's a twin stick shooter. There's a bunch of different weapons to unlock, a bunch of fun bosses that are more difficult than they have any right being. And I loved the gameplay loop of Downwell so much, of like jumping on people and then shooting people and trying to create combos of jumping and shooting on people and not running out of bullets, and expanding that and giving me an extra mechanic of the float to like fuck around with. I am fucking here for it. Again, this game is like $4, I think, and I haven't even made it past the second level because some of the bosses are so difficult. Super fun, well worth it.
I just love that when the game is this cheap, I always end up buying the soundtrack because it's only like $1 more. I own so many indie game soundtracks because it's like, well,
Steam.
It's like 50 more cents for the soundtrack.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like $10 with the soundtrack or something.
No,
right?
it's like $5 with the soundtrack.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
Love listening to music on my Steam.
Yeah.
My Steam computer.
Do you do that, Andy?
No.
Okay.
Never ever.
So you just own the soundtrack.
Correct.
A game just came out a couple of days ago called Dracomaton or Dracomaton. I don't know if it's Drac or Drake. I think it's Drake. Dracomaton. I picked this one up for a little bit. Played it a little bit tonight. It is a roguelike twin stick little shooty guy. I mean, if you've played them, you kind of understand what's going on here. But one thing that they do that's really cool, at least in the beginning here, is you pick up I forget what they call them, but they're like essentially they're power sets. So, and you could swap between the sets, and each set has a set amount of ammunition, and each one has 2 attacks. So you have like your simple like blaster, and then you could do like an AoE explosion that has a long recharge. And then when you come down, you could switch to the first one I got is a flamethrower. So you switch to fire powers, and the main character becomes like this like fire angel. So you're constantly morphing into these different forms, bouncing back, and you could play with them a little bit too. Like there are some synergies. Where one power's like secondary could feed into another power's primary attack and stuff like that. I also noticed that you can take other powers and you could put them as like a sub power to one you already have, but I don't really know what that does yet. Like I haven't quite seen it, like what it does. However, one of the cool things is like the longer you use one of these abilities, one of these costumes or whatever they call them, when you're using one of those, every time you're clearing enemies and killing things or whatever and gaining experience, your percentage of mastery of that goes up. So when that reaches 100, I'm wondering what will happen. Like I don't know, maybe you'll like unlock another power for it or something like that. I don't know, but it's pretty fun. I had a really good time with it initially, so I'm looking forward to
this looks like late era Newgrounds to me, is what this game is screaming to me, which is a good time.
100%, yeah.
But like it definitely has that vibe for sure. I will buy this though. For that much money, I'm gonna get it. Are you talking right now, Steve?
Sorry, I muted myself to yell at my kids.
Okay.
It is $2.99, so it is my indie steal of the week right now. So go
along with all of Matt's games.
Check it out. Yes,
also.
all of Matt's games.
That's a lot of steals, guys. That's a lot of steals.
So many
that
steals.
is half of Baldur's Gate 3's worth of steals this week.
Not even close.
That's a quarter Baldur's Gate.
Maybe 1/5.
A fifth of them.
I think it's silly that I'm gonna play D&D tonight, and then I'm definitely gonna play Baldur's Gate tomorrow because my kids are at my cottage and my wife is gonna be at work and I'm gonna be at home.
Definitely a D&D kind of weekend.
Yeah.
The D&D weekend. All right, let's get into the wish list roundup. These are games that we didn't necessarily play, but they caught our eye and they wanted to throw them on our wish list. If they have demos, maybe we'll play them and hit you up next week and tell you how they are. But the first one on this list is going to be Luminous Realms. This was Andy threw this one on the list. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this game, if you just look at it, guys, it features like a Sora looking, Keyblade wielding, heartless slashing.
God. Yeah, this is
pellet picking up and It is legit Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it's got the same thing. It's got the green stuff and the yellow things.
And I love
Oh
it.
boy.
This is
Oh,
also
Andy.
a future guest of the show.
Oh
coming on.
boy.
Oh, I
Coming
can't say
on.
anything anymore.
Well, this is
Are you doing the whole like plagiarism?
The plagiarism
talk?
argument
is that what you're
that's
all like
happening.
leaning into right
Hey, listen,
now?
I'm not
if
saying
we-
anything.
if we
I'm not
see-
saying anything. I didn't say
if
anything.
we see a
I didn't
dumb
say
dog
not a
being
thing.
This is
goofy,
actually
we
a
have
great-
a problem.
This is a great like line of questioning for when we have him on the show because
Right.
clearly inspired by Kingdom Hearts.
Clearly.
It's unavoidable. Look at it.
Yeah.
But then again, Steve, we just spoke to like the guy that loved Mega Man X and put it in 3D.
right.
Is that plagiarism? I mean, again, it's a fine line. This is like really on. It's not even.
This is a little
subtle.
on the nose, buddy.
Yeah, this is a little nosy.
Like at least Protroid Delta, like it was like a spiritual like sequel ish.
Mhm.
This looks like nope.
Well, we'll see. We're gonna talk to him
Yeah,
about it.
We'll see. Yeah, we're gonna ask the
Uh,
hard questions. We'll see what he says.
If there's
It's like that Switch Last of Us game.
Yeah.
Do they pulled that shit from the store? You saw that?
I did see that.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. That's some good news for us to talk about.
That's
I
great news.
put 3 games
many.
on here that I
many.
thought would be really fun to talk about. The first one is Greedland, which I think we've spoken about on the show before.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
This is coming out like tomorrow in early access, but it looks fucking dope.
What is happening on my screen right now?
It's a
That is crazy
top-down
looking.
Dopeness?
shooty survival game that has a lot of different classes you could choose from. I'm assuming they all have varying abilities. It looks like
I am in love.
yeah, right. Like it looks really cool. Flashy visuals. Everything has that
Oh my god.
sheen on it. Lots of powers. Look at that. So many powers are going on.
Oh
your
my
screen
god.
right
That's there's gonna be synergies, guys.
now. There's gonna be synergies. There's gonna be so
I feel like,
many synergies.
Do we start the wave? Because I feel like that's what's happening.
Yeah.
It's synergy.
It's an action roguelike, bullet hell, roguelite, action. Those are the tags from the popular user
These are
generated
the best
tags.
goddamn tags.
Double action.
Best tags.
It looks
Um,
like it has double action. If I'm looking at this video, that's double action for sure.
This is like out in 2 days, also.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
what-
out
what Steve
tomorrow.
just
Oh, it's
said
out
that.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out
I'm
tomorrow.
gonna play that game.
The next
Gonna
one I
play
wanted
that.
to talk about was Pseudo Regalia. Speaking of Kingdom Hearts looking stuff, this looks like a PS1 era like 3D platformer game.
Oh, I saw this on Twitter. It looks fucking
Fuck,
dope.
I'm in
came
love.
out a couple of days ago, but it looks really cool. Like I love the animation.
movement tech.
Yeah, the movement it looks awesome, but it's got that low poly PS1 thing going for it too. I don't know, I just thought it looks really cool, and it looks like it's being published and developed by the same dev, probably one
Dude.
person.
I'm kind of in love.
Yeah,
with how
yeah.
like the like the animation,
yeah.
like it's missing frames, but like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a deliberate way.
in the right places.
yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
Spider-Verse. Like that's
yeah.
it's very similar to like when you use that suit in Spider-Man. Like the
Holy
world is moving
shit.
normal, but you're kind of weird and choppy.
This
and
guy's
stuff.
getting DM'd like now.
Yeah, absolutely. Overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. It came out a couple of days ago on July 28th. It is only $6. So Andy, talk about it next week and let us know how it is.
Dude, I am legit buying it and also like sliding into DM zone.
That
right
means
now.
I might be getting it too. Then
Get on
That
there.
means you are getting it.
The next
that,
one
I
that I
got
wanted
you.
to talk about was Sklash. Did you guys see this game?
No.
This game looks really fucking cool. It's a fighting game, but it's like kind of like Bushido Blade in a way, but it's all
you took it out of my
It's
brain.
hand-drawn animation,
Ooh.
samurai sword fighting, where one hit basically wins. So it's all about positioning, dodging, faking, feinting, like trying to get in and trying to break their guard and get them. It's like fencing almost.
This art is so cool.
It's all hand drawn. All the animations are hand done as well. You got to keep an eye on all your meters, as you're fighting and stuff. It looks really beautiful, like hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah.
It's got some story mode in it too. So
It does.
yeah, which would be pretty dope. But I don't know, man. I looked at it and I was like, this is too pretty not to showcase on this show, and it comes out tomorrow.
And there's like 5 classes of samurai you can choose from, which I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
Damn,
dope.
that seems so cool.
It,
I will play
it
this
looks
too.
great. It looks great.
I will also play that.
I will
Great
play
job,
this
Steve.
while
You
we
really
look.
came
Good
prepared
picks.
this week. Yeah, man.
The picks are in, man.
Freeland, man.
Matt, tell us about Sprawl.
I want you to just watch the video,
Oops,
and I
I
don't think
just
I need to
watching
tell you
it.
anything about
Nice.
why I want this game.
Okay,
Oh my
let's
God.
see. Sprawl. Let's see. We got
First screenshot.
guns.
Steve.
All right,
Uh-huh.
there's guns.
Uh-huh.
There's wall running.
Uh-huh. There's explosions.
There's slow motion.
Yep.
There's
It's-
wall running.
It's cyberpunk. There's wall
There's
running.
jumping and
There's shooting.
down while
There's
you're
dual
jumping.
wielding.
Dual wielding.
Oh, I saw power-ups that
Did you see
get.
the Did you see the stuff pop out of
I
them?
saw
There's
this
gore and
stuff
blooding.
popping
You
out.
collect that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I saw this.
Oh, he just slid.
You know.
He just
You
slid.
don't know.
I saw this game
Momentum.
on Twitter, and I was like, "Holy shit! I need this game." Like the wall jumping looks so rad because the extension he seems to get off of the wall after wall running is seemingly more directed than normal, and like he like really pops himself out. And he's like blasting people all down and shit. I don't know. This game looks fucking so good. I can't wait to get
I
my
love
hands
it.
on this shit. It looks so stupidly good.
I love the Metal Gear Solid like cover art they got going on for their logo.
Dude,
So the one
seriously.
thing that I don't know how works, but that they explain on the
I
Steam
don't
page,
know how it works.
I don't know how it works, is the music is like ultra dynamic and will like react to your gameplay directly, like not just like ramp up and down with like your action, but like your
Yeah.
moves and your shooting and your kills and all that stuff. And I can't wait to see how that goes because that sounds
to
fucking
make
incredible.
one fucking boner-inducing experience.
Yeah,
This will be.
I want there to be roguelike elements, but the page doesn't mention anything about roguelike elements.
It's
I think
published
it's
by
I think
Rogue
it's
Games.
That's all
Listen,
you get.
But I know, but so like
the most you're
it
gonna get.
sounds like from what I read, it sounds like it's like a seemingly endless, but like straight shot, like first person shooter
I like
campaign
that.
kind of deal.
They can't all be roguelikes, man.
I'm totally cool with that. I'm totally fine with that.
Sprawl is a hardcore retro FPS set in an endless cyberpunk megapolis. Megapolis. There we go.
Megapolis.
Megalopolis.
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 Escape the
Mega-
world's
Mega-
They're getting
Megapolis.
letters.
and take
Yeah,
on
Megapolis
the
is like my
militarized
Greek friend.
government of the Sprawl. Fueled
Oh,
by the blood of your
Megapolis.
enemies and a mysterious voice in your head, make your way towards the spire to topple whatever lays within. Okay.
Tell me that doesn't sound dope.
Does
You
sound
want to play
dope.
that? I want to play that.
Oh, it's out this month. I
Popular
love it.
user-defined
And that's-
tags:
Why it's on my wish list.
sci-fi, controller,
In case you're wondering,
combat,
In case you
if you have eyes, that's why it's on my
FPS.
wish list.
shooter 3D.
hey, in case hey, do you know me?
We did.
Did you see this? That's why it's on my
did it.
wish list.
Do you, Matt? Hear game.
So Andy, you played Callisto Protocol, and it seems like some shit is going on over there at that
And
studio.
then news happened. I was like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunate. This is coming from VGC Video Game Chronicle. It looks
Correct.
like layoffs are reported at Callisto Protocol Studios striking
Correct.
distance. A number of layoffs have been reported. The developer behind Callisto Protocol, initially noted by Twitter user Tail Bowles. Numerous striking distance staff took to LinkedIn to report that Tuesday was their last day at the studio and they were now looking for work. It's not clear how widespread the layoffs are, but they identified at least 6 staff members. VGC identified at least 6 staff members from the design and production teams who have announced their departure. So it's never good to hear that, but you know, design and production, I don't know if that
So-
was the issue. I think
I'm gonna
Okay.
cut you off for a hot second.
Please cut
There
me.
was an update to the story on the bottom of the page. It is confirmed
Oh.
via IGN. 32 employees have been sacked from this team.
wow, 32. Damn.
So yeah, because I was like, okay, 6, that don't sound so bad, but then I was like, 32. How big could this team really be?
Damn.
That sounds like a huge part of their staff gone.
damn.
So while it aches me to see folks lose their jobs, but like this game, like it looked pricey to make, and then it didn't really meet expectations critically, and then
Yeah.
I never saw any big sales number announcements for this one, so
I'm gonna be honest, man.
it just sucks.
I think Sony's to blame for this
How?
because they
What?
because
Where does that come from?
well because they went there and they gave them some money, right? Like they
Yeah.
went in there and tried to support
Did
them.
they? Is that
Do you think?
confirmed?
Do you
They
think?
gave them
Do you think
money?
that they No Man's Skied them?
No, not necessarily. I'm pretty sure that's right. Like I'm pretty sure it was one of those things that like Sony went in, saw what they were doing, and they were like, "We like this. Let's bring it to
Where are you
PlayStation 5."
extrapolating this from? I have no idea where you're getting this from.
Maybe
You're pulling it
okay.
literally out of your ass. Is what it's like. I don't know where this comes from.
Uh-oh,
They
Ian's
went in,
getting
gave
mad.
us some money. This looks great. Keep at it. And then it sucked. It's all Sony's fault. I don't, what the fuck is it?
Well,
Where?
hold on. I could have swore this was something that like
I know that they lended.
Buzz, what do you
staff
say
to
about
they
help
did
with-
something. They did. I'm telling
They
you,
helped
they
with
did
the
something.
visual aspects, like
Yeah,
the graphic
they
piece.
partnered with them for something, and I forget what it was. But I think that when the bigger heads saw this thing, they should have called it out and been like, "Listen, guys, we love what you're doing, but this part is broken." And it's like the adults should have spoken up.
Wait,
is
hold
what
on
I'm
a
trying
minute.
to
Hold on a
say.
minute. Like, if there's no financial stake, like there's no investment, they don't like.
Yeah, they're not
own
going
the
to waste time
company,
there.
Or there's no marketing rights, or it's just.
Oh,
hey,
okay, here it is.
wanna-
I have it here.
Go ahead.
More than 150 employees from Sony are credited with helping bring the Callisto Protocol to life, as the
Okay.
Japanese giant's Visual Arts and Services Group collaborated on the game's cinematics. However, that hasn't stopped conspiracy theorists from arguing that it's the reason behind the release's improved performance on PS5 compared to other systems like Xbox Series X and S.
That's a reasonable like conspiracy theory.
Sure.
yeah.
Over
But-
Sony torpedoed this game.
Or didn't say it sucked and just let it fail. I don't understand what that.
I'm not saying it was their fault on purpose. I'm saying that the adult in the room should have been like, all right,
But wait,
this needs
why
more
would
time.
they use our people and your game sucks? I don't. There's no. I
That's
can't.
what I'm
why would
saying.
you
They should
waste your manpower.
That's what I'm saying.
But that makes no sense. What you're saying.
I'm saying Sony should be able to see when a game sucks.
But it's
That's their fault. They should have known, man.
dude. No.
They should have known.
I think you're
Fucking-
way off the base with this one. This is like.
I don't like either of you right now. I think you're both dumb.
I
What
think
the fuck am I saying? I don't know what the.
just look at your face. Speaking of
I can see. Yeah, all right.
PlayStation,
Never
Sam-
mind.
Gonna fence
sandbagging.
it this one, Matt.
I was gonna fight. Put my.
speaking
hand
of Xbox suffering, Baldur's Gate 3 Xbox version was pushed to 2024 due to Series S quote technical hurdle. There's been a lot of this is coming from purexbox.com, so give them a click, please. There's been a lot of Xbox-related drama involved in Baldur's Gate 3 since work began on the console version of the game. Earlier this year, developer Larian Studios confirmed it had run into technical issues, while a summer update told us that the Series S version still needs work. It's looking like that work on Baldur's Gate 3 for Series S has pushed things back even further. In a conversation on Twitter, Larian's director of publishing has hinted that we're unlikely to see the game come to Xbox until next year. The team is working out a, quote, huge technical hurdle, end quote, with the title and aims to provide an update on development by the end of 2023. Here's from the tweet here. Far from being exclusive, we have no exclusivity deal that prevents us from launching on Xbox. The issue is a technical hurdle. We cannot remove the split screen feature because we are obligated to launch with feature parity, and so continue to try and make it work. We have quite a few engineers working very hard to do what no other RPG of this scale has achieved: seamless drop in, drop out co-op on Series S. We hope to have an update by the end of the year. That is very much saying it is the Series S fault.
Without a doubt.
And they're not allowed to not have console parity between the S and X.
I remember that now that we're
Feature
talking
parity.
about this. I remember them mentioning that when they announced the S, that the games had to be full featured on both.
Yeah.
Right. This is
Yeah.
like a little bit of like the chickens coming home to roost, I feel, for Microsoft, because they made this promise that all the games will be, again, parity across the board. And I heard that they actually sent some of their engineers to help out Larian in this endeavor, because it's that big of a deal. Like, it's really tough for them. But I'm just like, you couldn't get it to work for Halo Infinite. How are you gonna help these guys out?
Ooh, ouch.
I'm just like, what do you intend to do?
Shots fired.
It just sucks that, like, you know, the S like for all the talk about like the specs of it and what have you, this is a clear example of how it can hold back in some regard. Like this game
Yeah, I mean, we saw it.
should have launched
Yeah.
alongside its PlayStation counterpart.
Yeah,
Had it not been for the
we
Series
saw
S.
this happen with PlayStation 3 and 360. PlayStation 3 was harder to develop for. Some games came out much later. Even sports games in the beginning, I believe, came like sometimes months later, and they were always worse. Until they unlocked the power of the cell processor, whatever the fuck.
I don't know if that's a one-to-one.
That's a little disingenuous, I feel. That's like saying the PS2 and PS3 must be parity.
No, I'm just saying.
But I know,
from a developer standpoint.
Yeah, I know.
Like we want these games to come out for both at the same time, but one is clearly limiting us in what we can do at the jump. And Thomas Pua, the communications director at Remedy, tweeted, kind of chimed in on this and goes, I feel Larian's pain on Series S. It's not about just optimize at the end. Nah, you have to take into account the technical limitations from the beginning of development. Nobody really wants to think of that when you start making your game, when everything is possible.
Man, this is turning into a much different conversation, especially once we get a little further into next gen only games, now that we're starting to kind of really like we're kind of over that hurdle now, and down the road it's just going to get harder for the S to keep up. And so if they keep this whole parity idea in place, it's going to be very difficult for Xbox to keep up with a release schedule of third-party games. Like their first-party games, I'm sure they have this. I would hope that they internally have a lot of this worked out. But third-party games like Baldur's Gate is, the current example, and then whatever Remedy game that we're talking about, that's going to become a larger and larger issue as things move forward, because you're going to be harnessing the real end power of the next-gen systems, but not be able to utilize that same power with like the Series S at all if they're finding limitations now.
Yeah, it's like you're essentially you have to marry design decisions to hardware limitations, right? Which is it's rough.
Instead of design decisions.
Right. And I really wonder, because like there's been chatter about like a PS5 Pro, like a mid-gen update coming at some point, and Xbox has said that the Series X is our mid-gen console update. Like the S is our base model and the X is our what would have been our mid-generation console. So they're locked into these two devices, I would imagine, unless something changes dramatically on their end, for this entire console generation. And as Sony builds their Pro model and devs of the third-party nature start developing more intricate games, the S is always going to be there as a hurdle in some fashion.
I mean, that is only true. So it is true now, right? Because Xbox has this stance that there needs to be version parity, but that's a self-imposed limitation, right?
Right, and they can drop that, of course.
Yeah, at any point they can drop that.
Yeah, most definitely.
The downside, the marketing downside to that is that now you're not kind of delivering on the promise of this box that you sold them, this magic box, cheap box that you sold them that will play all the next gen games.
But to be honest, like the second you acquire like a massive thing like Activision Blizzard, you make an announcement, okay, not all games are going to be system parity. Just, it'll go a few news cycles and you're done.
Right.
Just you'll have other things to be hype about and, kind of drown out all the
I think they'd
press.
be smart to sooner than later drop the parity rule. It seems like it's kind of barking up a lot of indie trees,
or they just make it some games have to be streamed from the S,
or they do that.
Yeah, that is
true.
Well.
Where it's just streaming from an X somewhere in a server farm, and just deal with it. Like you guys, you want it to run natively. Great developers, you can. If you can't get it to run natively, you could run the X version on the S, but it has to be internet on all the time, and it's a cloud version of the game.
That's a good caveat.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
There's one more thing, in case you couldn't tell. Andy made the news docs this week.
No, it was all tied to the same topics. I feel
I'm
like
aware.
why not lump a few things together?
I'm aware. Quantum Error
Hi,
developer.
I'm Andy. Are you gonna talk shit about Sony?
Can I
Because
just say-
Xbox sucks.
I had an observation, by the way. I think Steve's whole like Sony is to blame for fucking.
I'm wearing a PlayStation shirt.
For
You think it's reactionary?
I think it was like, oh shit, I gotta like throw some Sony shit bashing because there's like.
I need some Sony
Xbox,
shade to
like-
throw in here.
No, okay, going back to the Callisto Protocol, the reason why I say that is because I remember being extra hype for the fact that Sony was helping them, because I was like,
You've been away for too long.
Sony does that good stuff. I went and when I see that, shut up, I hate you both. Quantum Error developer.
Yes.
Xbox quote whatever. Xbox version needs more time due to slower SSD.
Correct.
So I'm just going to read the quotes here. This again is from Pure Xbox. Quote, we have started looking into optimizing the game for Xbox, but it is definitely going to take a little bit of time, unfortunately. QE has been made to be played with the PS5's extremely fat... okay. QE, for some reason, I couldn't figure Quantum Error. Okay.
Correct.
Quantum Error has been made to be played with the PS5's extremely fast SSD. The Xbox SSD is quite a bit slower, and so we are going to have to change things quite a bit to make up for that difference in speed. We did not say the game does not run or work on Xbox. The game runs at 60 FPS at the same graphic quality on the Xbox as the PS5. We only pointed out that the SSD on the Xbox is slower and that we have to find a way to figure that out. And then he continues, we have a boss fight that swaps levels instantaneously 4 to 5 times, like Ratchet and Clank, like the Ratchet and Clank game. Without the extra speed of the SSD in the PS5, this boss fight could stall or hitch while transitioning, which will hamper the experience. Now, this is obviously a use case scenario kind of thing, but he continues, we want to set the record straight that answering your question honestly was in no way us bashing Xbox for anything. All we did was point out the current issues, that issue that we have come across, and that will have we will have to spend more time to fix it. A different platform may require different solutions. Nothing wrong with that. We will not release the Xbox version until it is ready and want Xbox fans to be able to enjoy the game experience and quality as much as PS5 fans. So, I mean, we kind of always knew that that was going to be an issue with like loading times and whatever, and knowing that, and one of the things that we thought about was, Sony's going to be the ones that are going to take advantage of the super fast SSD with shit like Ratchet and Clank, like the world's just morphing quickly, or the haptic triggers, right? Like we were always like, they're the ones that are going to use those two features the best. That's obvious. Developers are gonna only develop. They're not gonna like focus in on developing for those aspects if they also have to make something for something else. And this kind of goes against that, where like, no, they made this boss battle with that crazy SSD in mind here. It appears, and now have to kind of scale that back, or at least come up with different solutions. And that's a design standpoint. That's not a technical standpoint. Like they designed it because this SSD could do that. So I just think that that's kind of cool, that like the technology that Sony created as far as like the I forget, what was it called again? The something bus, I forget what they called it. Like that special bridge on the SSD or whatever.
It definitely had
a weird name, but like
there's a name.
Doing that was able to, they were able to give these developers a design choice. Like they were able to design something specific to that, and now have to kind of rethink that. But hopefully Xbox players get the same experience or as close to it as possible.
Yeah, I think like the larger takeaway between, especially for the last story bit about Larian, is like this isn't just a matter of optimization or just like, as folks would always say, it's the sliders, bro. You gotta move them sliders. The sliders aren't sliding on the S. You gotta move the thing. It's a lot more complicated than that, and it sucks that it's different hardware, different challenges, and I hope that we see less of this as we go by, but time will tell what happens with all that.
We shall see. And really quickly, we're going to talk about the Kickstarter of the week, which we mentioned last week.
Holy shit, it's happening!
Ratatan has been funded in about 8.5 seconds.
Oh my god. You guys.
Yeah, like big time funded. Ratatan was funded in 1 hour. It is currently sitting at $645,000 of its $139,000 goal. It has 6,000 backers and has 28 days to go. So it's there.
It's breaking the mill.
Now here's the question.
Yes.
Do we think that the more money will make me get it faster, please?
I'm gonna say something brave.
Uh-oh.
Or stupid.
Are you ready for my bravery?
Sure.
I think the game is done already.
Dude, it's slated for like
But Steve,
the end of 2024, isn't it?
They just unlocked like what? Xbox and Switch or PlayStation platforms?
I think this
2025, April 2025. You think that the game is fully developed right now?
I think
it's targeting.
they're gonna sit on it for 2 years.
Targeting a release
they're
of
gonna
2025.
I think they could I think if this game
You think they're gonna take
they're gonna
over
build
2
on,
years?
the little slice they had that they're showing off.
This game is not done. You are crazy,
such
man.
bad takes
I think
today,
this
dude.
game
What
is
happened?
finished.
What's going on?
It's
What's bothering you?
Because they probably had this done when they made Patapon 3. Like they're just reskinning it. It's fine. They're just calling it Ratatan. It's Patapon 4. It's easy. It's a palette swap.
Mighty Number 9 was also done.
Yeah.
These...
Yeah. And
I almost brought
that too.
It shows.
I almost brought that up when we were talking about Callisto Protocol, because that was such like a fall from grace for Kenji Inafune, and also for the Dead Space dev.
What is that man even doing now? He's like a glory hole greeter.
I don't
like. What is he even up to?
Dude, he's living off Mega Man money. Are you kidding me?
Wow. Glory hole greeter.
That's a job.
Hello, your penis?
Please insert penis here.
Right this way. I have various holes for you to select from.
The biggest one is in my heart.
That's why you have that job.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Indies Nutz Podcast, where we talked about indie games, news, reviews, previews. If you like what you saw, please hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, join our Discord by joining our Patreon, follow us on Twitter.
We tag Capcom.
Shit.
Please give me the Mega Man back.
Thank you, Andy.
No more. They'd be thrilled.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, listeners. Play some indie games, and as always, please be excellent to each other.